If you are 70 years old and still able to do these six things, then you are not just aging well. You are aging like a legend. That might sound like a bold claim, but I mean it sincerely, because aging well is not about having no wrinkles or pretending you're still 40. It's about staying functional. It's about keeping the abilities that truly matter in everyday life. And if you still have them at 70, you're far ahead of the curve. You are defying the odds, and you're doing something right, something deeply valuable for your body and mind. The first of these six things is the ability to rise from a chair without using your hands. It sounds small, doesn't it? But this simple movement speaks volumes. Standing up from a seated position without pushing off with your arms is a clear sign that your legs still carry enough strength and your core still has enough stability. A large scale study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine followed over 2,000 adults aged 51 to 80. It found that people who could stand up from the floor or a chair without using their hands had significantly lower mortality rates over the next 6 years. This task requires balance, muscle coordination, and raw lower body strength. If you can still do this at 70, you are preserving independence. You can get out of bed. You can use the bathroom. You can get up from the dining table or a park bench without worrying about falling or needing help. That's not just convenience, that is freedom. The second is walking briskly for 10 minutes without stopping. Again, not glamorous, not headline worthy, but incredibly powerful. Gait speed, the speed at which you walk, has been studied for decades. Researchers at the University of Pittsburgh found that gait speed in older adults was a better predictor of survival than even some medical diagnoses. If you can walk quickly, your heart, lungs, nerves, and muscles are all still working in sync. You still have good circulation. Your joints are cooperating. Your nervous system is firing well enough to coordinate the movement. This is not about walking a marathon. This is about walking to the market, walking through the airport, catching a bus, living your life. If you can do that at 70, your biological age might be closer to 55. The third thing is remembering what you had for breakfast and recalling it again later in the day. Now, that may sound too easy, but in truth, this reflects more than just a memory skill. It reflects the sharpness of your hippocampus, the region in your brain most vulnerable to aging. In normal aging, we all experience small slips in memory, but consistent, reliable recall, especially of recent events, is a strong sign of cognitive health. In a longitudinal study called the Nun study, researchers found that seniors who maintained strong memory function also had cleaner brain scans with fewer signs of early dementia. Memory is not about IQ, it's about attention, mood, sleep quality, and blood flow to the brain. If you can still track daily events, make plans, hold conversations, and remember names at 70, your brain is still dancing. That's a gift worth treasuring. Fourth, let us talk about sleep. If you are 70 and can sleep for at least 6 hours at night and wake up feeling rested, you're doing better than most. Sleep changes as we age. The depth of our sleep becomes lighter, interruptions become more frequent, and the body's internal clock shifts. But restorative sleep is essential for repairing cells, consolidating memory, balancing hormones, and fighting inflammation. A major study from the Journal of Sleep Research found that poor sleep in older adults was linked with greater risk of heart disease, diabetes, and depression. Yet seniors who managed 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night had healthier immune systems and slower rates of cognitive decline. So if you can still fall asleep naturally, stay asleep for most of the night, and wake up feeling alert, then your body and brain are working with harmony. That is no small feat. Now, the fifth thing, if you can still climb a flight of stairs without stopping to catch your breath, you're doing better than millions your age. Climbing stairs is not just about fitness. It is a combined challenge to the heart, lungs, muscles, joints, and balance system. A large study conducted in Spain looked at over 12,000 older adults and found that those who could climb stairs daily without help had almost 50% lower risk of cardiovascular death. Stairs are a stress test. If you can handle them without fatigue or pain, your cardiovascular reserve is still intact. That means your heart is pumping efficiently.
Your lungs are exchanging oxygen well, and your body is still resilient enough to handle exertion. That is a clear sign of legendary aging.
And finally, the sixth. If you can still laugh, feel joy, and hold emotional connection with others, if you can still love, then you are aging with soul. Emotional vitality is not measured in scans or tests, but it is just as crucial as blood pressure or cholesterol. Older adults who maintain friendships, hobbies, spiritual beliefs, or a sense of purpose live longer and report less pain. The Harvard study of adult development, which tracked individuals for over 75 years, found that the single most important factor for long term health was the quality of relationships. Not diet, not exercise, relationships. If you can still pick up the phone to call a friend, if you can still feel moved by music, if you still feel like you matter to someone, you are carrying the kind of health that no pill can provide. And that is legendary. Each of these six signs might seem ordinary on their own, but together they represent a system that is still working beautifully. They show that your joints still bend, your heart still beats strong under pressure, your brain still forms new memories, and your soul still reaches out toward others. That is the kind of aging that doctors admire deeply, because we know what the alternative looks like. We know what it means when someone can no longer rise from a chair or walk a short distance. We know the sadness in a patient's eyes when memory begins to slip away. We know the silence in rooms where laughter used to live. So if you are 70 and still doing these things, I want you to pause and take that in. You are not just lucky. You are strong. You are skilled. You have likely worked at your health, maybe without even realizing it. Maybe you have been walking daily without knowing that was building your longevity. Maybe you chose to eat well, to stay curious, to stay in touch with friends. Maybe you did not think it mattered, but it did, and it still does. Because here is the deeper truth: aging well is not an accident. It's not a random stroke of fortune. It is a combination of choices, environments, habits, and biology. You cannot control everything, of course. Genes play a role. Accidents happen, but there is always something you can do to tilt the odds in your favor. And if you're still holding on to these six abilities at 70, then you have been tilting those odds beautifully. I want to encourage you to keep going, to keep choosing movement over stillness, to keep choosing sleep over scrolling, to keep choosing connection over withdrawal, because aging is not just about holding on to what you had, it's also about discovering new strengths. Some people grow softer in spirit as they age, more patient, more forgiving, more grateful. That is a kind of strength that no youth can match. Your wisdom is not just in what you know, it is in how you carry what you know. And the world needs more of that. So stand up from your chair, walk a little faster, laugh a little louder, call someone you love, take the stairs if you can. And when you lay your head down at night, rest with the pride of someone who is doing something truly rare. You are aging like a legend, and that is something worth celebrating every single day. The beauty of this journey is that there is still time, time to nurture what you have, time to rebuild what you may have lost, time to adapt, shift, and evolve into your next chapter. Because the human body is more adaptable than we give it credit for. Muscle can be rebuilt even in the 80s. Memory can be sharpened through small daily exercises. Lungs can grow stronger with practice. The heart can become more efficient with regular walks. The mind can be lifted by new friendships. And the soul can heal at any age. So if you are not yet able to do all six of these things, that is not a reason to despair. It is simply a call to begin, to take small, steady steps, to honor your body, to listen to your spirit, and to know that you are not done. You are still becoming. You are still shaping your legacy. And if you are able to do all six of these things, then cherish it, protect it, build upon it. Use it as a platform to inspire others. Teach your grandchildren how to love movement. Show your friends how to find joy in aging. Share your story, because when we age well, we give others permission to believe that they can too. And that may be the most legendary thing of all. Let me tell you something simple but powerful. At 70 years old, your body and your mind are still listening. They are still paying attention to what you ask of them. And when you set a goal for the next 3 months, something changes. Your brain shifts into focus, your muscles begin to prepare, your daily choices start to realign with purpose. You stop drifting and begin moving. And that is what makes the next step in your journey so important. Because no matter what your condition is today, you still have the ability to shape what you will be able to do at 71. That is not just hope, that is science. In fact, researchers have studied this exact idea. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society showed that when older adults set short term physical activity goals, simple ones, like walking for 10 minutes 3 times a week, they had better mobility, lower blood pressure, and stronger mental health after just 12 weeks. Not years, not decades, just 12 weeks. And the most interesting part was that those who believed they could improve were the ones who did improve. That belief was not just wishful thinking, it became part of the outcome. So let me ask you a question. What do you want to be able to do at 71? Maybe you want to walk up a hill without stopping. Maybe you want to carry your groceries without needing help. Maybe you want to remember more, sleep better, or laugh louder. Those are not distant dreams. Those are reachable targets, but they only happen when we bring them into focus and work backward to today. That is what a 3 month goal is. It is a bridge between who you are now and who you are becoming. Now, you might be thinking, what kind of goal should I set? The answer depends on you, but it should be clear, realistic, and measurable. You should be able to say at the end of 3 months whether you reached it. Let us say you want to regain balance and avoid falls. A good goal might be to hold a one leg stand for 20 seconds without support. Research from the BMJ found that people over 70 who could stand on one leg for more than 10 seconds had significantly lower risk of falling, lower risk of stroke, and even longer life expectancy. And the best part is that this ability can improve with simple daily practice. That means you can build it one day at a time starting today. Or maybe you want to improve heart health. Then a good 3 month goal might be to walk briskly for 20 minutes without getting short of breath. Cardiologists at the Cleveland Clinic have long supported the idea of exercise as medicine. Studies show that even short bouts of daily walking can reduce blood pressure, improve sleep, and lower your risk of heart failure. If walking feels hard now, start with 5 minutes. Then add one more minute every few days. By the time 3 months have passed, you will not just feel stronger, you will be stronger. Perhaps your goal is not physical. Maybe your goal is to improve your mood or reconnect with people you love. That is just as important. Research from Harvard's study of adult development has shown again and again that the quality of our relationships is the strongest predictor of health and happiness in later life. So, if your 3 month goal is to call a friend once a week, or join a local group, or even write one letter to an old companion, then you are investing in your emotional resilience. And that is health too. Whatever your goal is, write it down, say it out loud, tell someone you trust. When we speak our goals, they become real. When we track them, they gain momentum. And when we see progress, no matter how small, our confidence begins to return. That confidence can make you stand taller, breathe deeper, and move with purpose again. It reminds your body that you are still here, still trying, still living. Now I want you to know this truth. Your body is not done changing. Muscles can still grow. Balance can still improve. Sleep can still deepen. Memory can still sharpen, but only if we ask it to, only if we give it a reason. And a 3 month goal is a beautiful reason. So if you are 70 today, imagine what your life could feel like at 71. What would it mean to walk into that next year with a little more strength, a little more confidence, or a little more joy? You do not need to be perfect. You just need to begin. One step, one choice, one small goal, repeated until it becomes part of you. This is not about proving anything to anyone else. It is about proving something to yourself. That you are not powerless in the face of aging, that you still hold the pen, that you are still writing your story, and that in 3 months you can turn one small change into a powerful shift. So set that goal, speak it, work toward it with patience. And when the days get hard, remind yourself of this simple truth. Aging is not about what you lose, it is about what you choose. And today, you are choosing to become stronger for the road ahead.